the Warriors take their first loss of the season. And once again, it's to this young Memphis Grizzlies team who seems to have our number, man, right? 23 turnovers. 23 turnovers. And, you know, I'm not an analytics stats guy, right? But what is the highest rate of turnover on a play? To me, back doors, when you cut back door like that, the chance of a turnover on that is super high. And you see this with the Warriors system. It always works out of the gate, right? Because everybody's concerned with the three, the gravity, all that, right? And they start hitting these back doors and then they get greedy. Like, what do you think the conversation was in the huddles and in halftime with Memphis? Hey, you can't sell out on the perimeter. They're killing us back door. You've got to see that. And then boom, the turnovers start happening. They get greedy and they start forcing the issue. And then let's face it, it does become predictable who they're trying to pass the ball to. If you have any type of defensive IQ as a player, it's like, what am I going to do here? Am I going to jump out here on Steph? Or maybe I'll let Looney slip for a dunk, right? They're just playing the percentages. But it's no secret, long athletic teams bother this Warrior system. So I don't know why we're really surprised here. And for the first time this season, what you saw really was no one else stepped up offensively to help Steph. We've put all this pressure and expectation on Jordan Poole. And the unfortunate thing for him right now is, in my opinion, you can't trust him late in games when it matters, right? Slow the fuck down, Jordan. And I said something about this last week. I said he has to control his emotions. And that's what I see. Because he started that fourth quarter, he made 3 or 4 great plays, and then he gets excited. It's his emotions. And then he gets sped up and he'll fuck up 3 or 4 plays and you got to get him out of there. I don't know about you, right? But do you trust the ball in Jordan Poole's hands late in the game right now? I certainly don't. I would love to, but I do not. Damian Lee has been amazing and you saw them just come up short time and time again. Memphis is tough, man. Ja Morant, it looks like he's going to stay in this MVP conversation, right? Because now he's kind of figured out what type of threes to take, kind of more set ones, and he picks his spots there. His IQ, his pace, just got done talking about how fast Jordan Poole's playing. Ja Morant, even more athletic than Jordan Poole, but he's figuring out how to play with pace. I've heard a lot of talk about the rotation. Did Steph come in the game too late? My guy on Twitter was asking me, I think it's unfair at this point to question the rotation. This has been Steph's rotation since in the Steve Kerr era. And clearly it's what he likes. He likes to play the full first, right? And then we know it. We know it. Could Kerr have brought him back a little bit earlier in that time? Yeah, I do think Kerr gets rigid. But I understand what his thinking is, because if you do it once, then you do it again and you do it again. And then you look back at the end of the season and Steph's played all these extra minutes because you haven't been disciplined in when exactly you bring him back. I understand that train of thought. And I also understand that it's blasphemous amongst Dub Nation to say anything that would appear to be negative about Steph Curry. We all marvel at his conditioning and his ability to move around off ball and how much energy he spends, right? But let's be honest, Steph isn't the strongest of closers, right? Especially when you consider he's the greatest shooter of all time. If you're honest with yourself, Dub Nation, right? He isn't. It's not a strong suit of his. And perhaps one of the hidden costs of how much energy he uses moving off ball all game and his gravity and his unselfishness and willingness to do that, he doesn't have as much juice as maybe you would like him to in the final 5 or 6 minutes of a game. Now, as far as the rotation goes, it's up to Steph. People that are blaming Kerr, this is how Steph wants to play. What could they do? Could you sit him the final 3 minutes of first quarters, right? And go to, the team's deeper, right? Go to point Bielitsa. And then you could bring him back maybe at like the 9-10 minute mark, 8 minute mark in fourth quarters. We'll see. The Kerr and the staff seem to be a little more dynamic and not as rigid this year. But yeah, we'll see. It just came to mind. Again, it's probably unfair to question this when there's been so much winning and so much success as far as the rotation goes. But turnovers, and it was weird to see Steph kind of lose confidence in his shot late in that game. And you know the saying, fatigue makes cowards of us all. And so maybe he didn't have enough in the tank, and they're so physical with him, and it's an accumulation. But anyway, I'll have a full breakdown of the overtime game later today on Patreon. I got a lot more to say about that. Please consider supporting me and signing up. It's a great value, man. I'm dropping content on there all the time, so check that out.